Keith Dambrot, now kind enough to join us here on this Victory Monday. You know Keith, the head basketball coach at the University of Akron and former coach at St. Vincent St. Mary. And Keith, gosh, I'm just tickled pink for you too today. How are you?
I'm great. I'm really glad for LeBron. I mean, obviously he's always done things the right way, and just to finally get everybody off his back and show that, you know, he's a true winner, which he really is, and I'm just happy for him.
What was it like for you last night? I will say we'll go with a minute before Kyrie hit the shot. How are you feeling? And then take us through your roller coaster ride there, the final seconds, and when the guys were spilling out onto the floor. And at that point, we knew that the Cavaliers had finally done it. Take us through that, if you would.
Well, I think, you know, there's a lot on the line. Really, you think about it. This win was for the whole area. I mean, it was Akron, Cleveland, all the suburbs, Northeast Ohio. Just all the doom and gloomers that never really had any faith in our community, really. And so for me, you know, I always said this, it's the easiest thing is to play, the second easiest to coach, and the third, the hardest thing of all is to watch your children play. So when LeBron plays, I kind of view that like that's my son playing. So it's hard, and I wanted him to be able to have success, but I wanted it for this whole area. I think when you're from here, you really understand it.
Yeah, and to watch him break down last night, and Coach Lou was just sobbing on the bench, and man, I'll tell you what, there's nothing like, and you know this being on the front line as a coach, there's nothing like the raw emotion in sports, and it's when people that you love and you care about and you're around and you watch them. I mean, that's what it's all about.
Well, you put a lot of time into this too. You know, people don't realize what coaches do and what players do. You know, they stay at it for long periods of time. And the grind of it, and just the constant emotional battle, and the mental toughness, and the physical grind. And then, you know, what we do is in front of everybody. So you've got fans mad at you, parents mad at you, the writers are on you. So it's just a constant battle. And then finally at the end, you just break down like he did.
Keith Dambrot is our guest, head coach of the University of Akron Zips, celebrating with all of us today a world championship. LeBron James, Cleveland Cavaliers, 93-89, and they beat the Golden State Warriors in their house, Coach. They had 73 wins. They had the MVP. They had that raucous crowd, but somehow our guys were not going to be denied. If you could, just from the basketball sense, break down how the Cavaliers won that game last night.
Well, I don't think there's any question. They just out-toughed them. I mean, and I think really throughout the series they just out-toughed them. They didn't out-finesse them. They didn't out-think them. They just kind of out-toughed them. And I think even LeBron last night, I don't know if he quite had it all the way. Like I didn't feel like he had that extra pop to him. You know, he struggled making jump shots, but he willed his team to victory. And having not made a three-all, you know, the whole game, he gets fouled on one. He was really smart. And then immediately he knew he had space on the guy, and he shot the next one. So just things like that, those little plays, they add up into wins. And then obviously the block, like as great a shot as Kyrie's was, which was huge, the block basically kept them from playing from behind in the last minute and a half, which was huge.
And the Cavaliers' defense in the fourth quarter, I mean, you talk about a grinder. I thought Kevin Love was outstanding. Rebounds, playing some good defense and switching on some screens. And Shump, I thought they got I can't say the word. They got a lot of great help from people that came in last night. And, you know, they shortened up the rotation a little bit. You know, Channing wasn't out there, Deli wasn't out there, and the guys, they laid it out there. And I think, to me, that was one of the great parts, is just that they had to work hard. They had to lunch pail it, and that's what they did.
No, and I you know, it's funny because I talk to this with our team all the time about, like, where we're from, how we got to play. We have to play like a Rust Belt team, and that's really what Cleveland did, is they played like a Rust Belt team, and or they used that mantra of, you know, the West Coast is not as tough as the Midwest, and that's kind of how I saw the whole series was, hey, maybe Golden State was more finesseful and more fluid and, you know, played offense the correct way, so to speak, but we just grinded it out. And you got to give those guys a lot of credit.
Coach, you obviously you know LeBron very, very, very well, and you've watched him grow into a man. Not asking you to get inside of his head because he's probably swimming right about now, but wow, I mean, I can't imagine the emotions and the thoughts and just rewinding things that have gone on in his life, and to cradle that trophy last night on the biggest stage of the world. And they got on that plane, and I know they had a little pit stop for a little party in Vegas, and hats off to them. And they come back home, and I just wonder, what every step that he takes now, how he feels and moving forward with everything. It's just got to be an unbelievable feeling for him.
Well, I think for sure, that he wanted to win this for Cleveland, Northeast Ohio, and he never really wanted to leave, but he had to leave, and so he almost always he always wanted to come back, and finally, when Cleveland had the pieces in place, he could come back. And I think there's nothing more special than what he just did. Whenever you can do something in front of your friends and your family and the people you care about, and you have tremendous pride in a region like we all do, like as much as he gave, he's going to get a lot back too, because he's going to have that self-fulfillment that not many people can have.
I remember the essay that he wrote. I was at Infocision Stadium when he came back with 30,000 people there. And then training camp, don't win it last year. He says, come on back next year, fellas. Let's go a little bit earlier. Let's get ready to go. And the camaraderie and everything, and it's kind of all come full circle for him. And he was the conductor, Coach. I mean, he was the orchestrator on and off the floor. And you talk about a heavy weight on a guy's shoulders, and LeBron's got some of the broadest shoulders I've ever seen. But it really even makes that more special and more incredible that he was able to do this with everything that has gone on. And you're right, he is going to reap the rewards, and doggone, he deserves every last pat on the back, hug, clap, congratulatory note he can get.
Sam, listen, there's a lot of great players, there's a lot of great talents, but you could argue that LeBron James has this Midas touch where not only does he make players better, but he makes people better. And so, you see the scene with J.R. Smith. You're talking about a guy that couldn't get along with anybody anywhere. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, not only is he a pretty good player, but he's become a better person even. And I think that's the magic of LeBron James. He's just a guy that just has this knack of anybody he puts his hands on, any city he puts his hands on, or any entity, it just all of a sudden it turns good. And there's not many people in the world that can do that.
No, and he does it with such class too. He really does it the right way, and I think that's another thing that I just have always admired about him, and just love watching him do his thing on and off the floor. What do you think it's going to be like in Cleveland Wednesday as they get ready for that ticker tape parade and the big rally? I guess we can all think about and dream about what it would be like, but now it's actually going to happen, Coach. How do you think it's going to go down?
Well, I think it's great. I think, people should celebrate. They should come out in full force, enjoy themselves, obviously cleanly and politely. But, I mean, it's going to be an unbelievable thing for this whole region just to finally feel some success, and just think about all the automobile jobs, all the rubber jobs that have left this area over the last, 30, 40 years even, and how people have had to fight for everything they've gotten. So they should go out and enjoy it. And, I'm sure LeBron's going to have that desire to come back and get it done again too. So I don't want him to celebrate too long, but he deserves a little bit of time off.
No kidding. I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you how did you watch the game last night? And again, I guess take us emotionally for you. What was it like? With family, friends? How did you do it last night?
Well, we had an elite workout till about 7:00. So I came home, and it was our empty nest, just me and my wife, Donna, and we sat there, and we sweated it out together. And, I just couldn't stand to hear another negative thing, so I was just so happy that for one, the area can get this off their back, but then I don't have to listen to Skip Bayless and all those other jerks attacking arguably one of the best players in the world.
Yeah, their voice has officially been muted as of around 11 o'clock last night. Keith, thank you so much for coming on. Again, I'm happy for you. I mean, gee whiz, this is just incredible for our area, our region, Northeast Ohio, and people that love to work and work to love. And this is something I know we're never going to forget, and let's celebrate the heck out of it for as long as we want. I appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Thanks for having me. Take care.
You got it. There you go. Keith Dambrot, head coach of the Zips.